Hello everybody. Hi and happy Friday. Thank goodness it is Friday, right? Okay, so why am I frozen here? I don't know what's going on. So we'll switch to another cam and hello, there we go. I still keep freezing up. I'm not sure what's happening here. This is what happens when you're doing some live streaming and it's just, sometimes you have some technical difficulties. But anyways, I'm here in my office and last night I did a live video also on Facebook, and I did, what did we do? I shared with you my brand new Kuretake ZIG clean color. Is that what it is? Like ZIG clean color markers. Now, what I want to do today is I really want to share with you the results of these markers if we're going to use it in many different papers. Well, actually, not so many, but we have a watercolor paper in here. I also have my Midori notebook, which I love, and then I have a Leuchtturm notebook. Last night, I was playing in my Hobonichi, and it worked well because a lot of water-based markers work so well in the Hobonichi anyways, you know, but I want to really do some test in other notebooks as well. So this one is the Leuchtturm, the 1917. You guys might be familiar with that one, but so we have that. And then this is actually very new to me, this notebook right here. This is from, what do you call this? What do you call this brand? It's, golly. I'm going to remember later. Because there's no, but, my gosh, my other planner, kind of like very similar to the Hobonichi. I can't remember the name right now. And then this one is the Midori notebook. Um, and I love this one. I've been using this one as my sketchbook. I kind of like do a lot of doodles in here, and a lot of my projects that I'm doing, the sketch is here first. So you'll see a lot of these drawings turn into going to be turned into a product very, very soon. Okay, so we're gonna try this one. Why don't we have that? So I want to try the ZIG clean color in here, how well it's going to blend, how well is it going to bleed, and all that jazz. So let's start with the Leuchtturm first. I'm going to start with the Leuchtturm and see here. All right. Let's use different colors than what I used last night. I also didn't try the liner pens. We were talking about this last night, if they are waterproof. And yes, they are waterproof indeed. So that's why you can use this one to create your doodles and then color in and play with some water using the ZIG Manga clean color. So this set that I have here is the 22-piece set. It's called the Mangaka. I don't know. Mangaka set. And here we have this wonderful, actually, I am really loving this pencil case that it came with. So it's like a faux leather. And when you open it up, it opens up this very big, wide opening. And you can stretch it and have it here on your desk and have all your markers in here. And I thought that was really clever. Especially, you know how it is. Well, at least with me, my markers are like, I kind of like open it, throw it on the table, and sometimes, I'm not overly careful and they just kind of roll over. Although these markers, they have a stopper here on their lid, so it's not really gonna roll, so which is pretty good actually. All right, so let's do the test. I'll try some other colors. Let's do the green, blue, and yellow. So I'll put that on the side. Let's doodle just some little things in here. Simple things. Okay. So let's doodle a kawaii flower. Let me just zoom in. There we go. Now, last night I tried the 01 tip and I love it. And now this one is the 05, which is actually really good because sometimes the 05 and other markers, they feel a little, I think, thicker than this. But this one is really great. And I love the grip of the tip of the marker to the paper. There's like a little bit of that friction, and it makes it nice to draw because it's not just gliding all over the place. I feel like I have better control over over my pen. So I'll just doodle some cute flowers in here, and then we can color it with. And let's also check if this one will bleed. No, no bleed through. You know, Leuchtturm is um, very thin paper as well, but I love that there's it's coated, so everything will just kind of like feel a little smoother. And they actually have a brand new paper that's out that's much thicker than this. So if you have tried the bullet journal, the 2.0, actually that one will have a much thicker paper than their regular 1917 notebook. Here we go. I'm not sure what's happening. I think there's some construction happening over there. Usually it's pretty quiet here in our area, but right now there's some loud machineries. I am so surprised that Winston is not barking like crazy. And he's here in my office. Sometimes it goes nuts. I don't know. Here we go. Let's just start with those ones so we can just try it. All right, let's start with a yellow. And this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little of a blending. So I'll pull out the orange and maybe pull out the red too. So we can just do a little bit of blending so we can really test the markers. Now this one has a real brush. I don't know what it's made of, but when I say real brush, it's not like the Tombos and the Karen and that uses a felt tip for their brush nibs. This one, it has like fibers, small fibers, and it gets a little tricky to kind of get used to them because they're really soft. So a little bit of pressure will give you some thicker strokes. So if you're heavy-handed like me, you might find that a little difficult in the beginning, but like with everything else, it just takes a little bit of getting used to, you know. So here we have, I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to pull the orange so we can just see how well it's going to blend. And then I'll create just flicking motion in here so we can really see. Ooh. But the beautiful thing about, brush pens like this is that once you get the hang of using the tip or your brush, you can do so many things like the flicker motion like this. It's fun to do it with a real brush like that. So I'll just do that. All right. See, now every result is going to give you each time, not saying this, I'm not saying it well. Each time you'll get different result in different papers that you're going to use. For example, this is the Leuchtturm, and that's why we're testing it out because we want to see how well it's going to blend. How well the colors or the pigments are going to travel, and how much pigment can we pack in here. Uh-huh. This one is really juicy also, the ink. And so far, there's no bleed through in there. So I'll add more. We'll go back to this orange one. If you'd like to see some swatches of these markers, check out my latest video that I posted last night. do this like that. And I'm actually working on my swatches because I really want to upload that for my ML community. So for all my ML Academy members, I really want to give them those resources so they can have like all the colors if they feel like buying some markers, so at least they have the swatches, because the swatches really help, um, so you can see the real color of the markers, you know, instead of you buying the whole set. And some markers are even better than the others. Some brands, I should say, some brands are even better than the others because some brands are available open stock. I really appreciate that when something is available open stock, because that means I don't have to buy a whole big set right away. You know, does that make sense? All right, so far this is what it looks like. I'm not doing such a great job blending, but I feel like the paper, it's only allowing me to do so much blending. I feel like the colors are packed in the middle, or in one area where you really lay down the pigments and the colors. I feel like it gets dried in there. Maybe the paper is drying much faster than some of the other papers, because with the Hobonichi last night, since the Hobonichi is using a Tomoe River paper and um, it holds the pigments and the water, the moisture, different than other papers that you'll ever try. And that's why I love the Hobonichi, because the way it can hold pigments and the way it can resist the water for, you know, quite some time because of the coating. It's really fun to use. All right, I know we're all of a sudden going to have a cool color in here. You know what? But maybe I'll just use the blue as an accent so we can, because it's kind of weird. Let's just have a blue in here. So I'll color the whole thing yellow, and then we'll add the blending from the bottom. We'll add some of those, the red ones. Have you guys used these markers before? Let me know in the comments. I am not new to these markers, to this brand, because when I was first introduced in this crafting world, I remember doing some card making at first, and these were one of the markers that I bought. And then I switched to Copics, the alcohol markers. And so I had like a big set of these markers before. It's kind of like 90 colors, 90. So I'm not sure if that's all the colors they have or if they have brand new colors now, but I did bought the 90 set. All right, so that's the blending. I'll just try some of the blue for some accent colors in here. Like that. All right, let's see if we have any bleed throughs. Nope, no bleed through. Now, lastly, before we move on to the next color, I want to just kind of do this. Like that. And then, oops, we'll just jump in to the red. And this time we'll use some water. I have a, okay, and I'm just gonna blend the colors with some water in here. The colors are blending beautifully. Also, another thing that I love is that it doesn't leave a streak or a mark. Some other brands that I've tried before, when you apply it to the paper, it would leave some marks where you applied that marker. And so sometimes it's really frustrating because you want to do like a beautiful gradient or some beautiful blend, but then you have this one piece of, marker, and then you can't move it because it stains in the paper, and then you just can't manipulate, you can't manipulate the color anymore. So that gets really, really frustrating, when that happens. So this one, we're not getting any of those streaks, which is really good. And so I'm happy with that. All right, so now let's try another paper. I am going to use this Midori notebook. I love this notebook. I do. All right, so I'm going to do a straight on here. I'll just draw. So we can just try the blending. That's really what I care about right now, is I want to see how well it blends. This is such a beautiful, beautiful mint color. I love it. That is pretty. Love that. All right, now I'm going to try the yellow again, and we'll just, actually, I'll start with the red first. This time I'm not doing any line art, so I'm just jumping right in. Pick up some of those red to create the petals. See how well they'll blend. Look at that. That was fun, isn't it? Pretty. Ah, I love these markers in this paper. Now my petals are going all over the place because I can't move the paper so much. This one is so long. It shouldn't be. I rarely do this without like sketching because this is what happens to me. We're gonna kind of like jump right into my idea. Sometimes I get lucky. And that's fine. All right, and then I'll come back in and just add a little bit of like details and see how well that's gonna lay. It's like so early in the morning. My hands are still so heavy, but if I've been drawing like the whole day, I feel like I have a much better control. I feel like my hands and my brains are much better coordinated that way. But yep, first thing in the morning, guys. So right now, look at the pigments are just like kind of like bleeding through the paper because this part right here is still wet. And so when I lay down, I was planning on adding just a little bit of like dots, but what happened was it just started bleeding through. So it just started spreading and traveling in that because that one still has some moisture in there in that middle part. So add this. And then I want to add some greens and see. Add some there. And then I'll just blend it with a mint color, with a lighter color. We'll just spread this one like that. Right, and then this one. Oh, sorry. There. Huh. All right. That was pretty. Now the test is we're gonna see if there's some sort of bleed through in here. Nope, there's no bleed through. And that you've seen how that really middle part right there was really packed with a lot of pigment, a lot of colors, but so far, nope, nothing in there. So that's really awesome. I love it. Okay, I want to do a little bit of lettering in here. This one is taking me a lot of effort to go really light, because the brush itself is super, super sensitive. And so you really have to go like really light. Think light as a feather. Yeah. So just a little bit of pressure will give you that thick stroke. So if you write light and you find your thick strokes a little difficult, then I think you'll love this. But if you're heavy-handed like me, it just takes a little bit of extra effort. But it looks so beautiful because it has the real brush. And so you can really create some very beautiful thin strokes in here. Fun. That's really fun. Now I want to add, I'm not sure if the paper is already soaked up all of these inks in the middle, but I want to add a cute kawaii face in there. Yep, there didn't bleed through or anything like that. So that's fun. Yep, so that's the Midori notebook. And we didn't get any bleed through, so that's a success. That means that I can use these markers here. No problem whatsoever. Okay, the last one, I remember, hallelujah, I do remember the name now of this notebook that I wanted to share. Okay, so this one is it's from Kokuyo. So it also uses a different paper. So it's from Japan. It came with this plastic. I remember when I was young, we used to cover our notebooks in these plastic when we used to go to school in the Philippines. So this is kind of like nostalgic. Okay, so the Kokuyo paper, I know that there's like different types of this one. There is a brand name. I was looking for it earlier and I couldn't find it. So Kokuyo. And this one is the Churu Churu. So I think the Churu Churu one is like supposed to be the very smooth, very, very smooth. So it's great for like fountain pens and all that. So they came, I think there's like three different kinds. One that's like rough, slightly textured, and then one, maybe two. I can't remember now, but you look it up. It's Kokuyo notebook. I haven't used this one yet because I've been waiting for a perfect reason to use the notebook, and I haven't yet. But okay, we'll try different colors for this one. We'll do a little bit of cool tones. So we have like the haze pink. Okay, pink haze. Sorry about that. And then we have lilac, and then we have the haze blue. So more pastel shades in here. So I'm just gonna draw some flowers. Oh wow. It creates this beautiful gradient when you kind of like add pressure, and then it just creates this beautiful natural, very natural gradient. The way it that's this way I can explain it. I can't, because of course your pressure, if you're adding a little bit of pressure, it will create like darker values. um, and then when you go ease up on your pressure, it will go lighter, so you're like basically laying down more ink when you go a little heavier on your pressure, and then when you go ease up, and so it becomes lighter. So you create this natural gradient when you're doing that, when you play around with the pressure of your hands when you're applying your markers. All right, so we have that. I'm going to put this on set this one on the side. It's pretty. I love it. And then I think I have a darker blue in here. I just want to add another color in here to really see, like that. Okay, it's beautiful. I don't think this one is going to bleed through at all. It's a little hard to make some circles with this tip. I don't know. It's just, I have to practice with it, but that was a little funky. All right, I'm going to try and make, okay, I'm going to do the pink haze. Okay, let's just do this. Wow. This paper is amazing. I forgot why I bought it, and now I know. It's so amazing. It's wow. This is her first look of this Kokuyo paper. It's so smooth, and the way the ink lays on the paper, I cannot explain it. I'm so terrible, but wow, that's fun. Okay, I'm gonna use the red in here. I can't help it. I want to add some darker. I'll use in here. Wow, that's. Oh, I think they're cutting some trees. Of course, they're gonna cut some trees today while I'm doing this. Kind of figures. And I will add some. Look how much thin and thick you can create here, and then you can go as thin as you'd like. Look at that, thick. So the way that the brush work is that you can cover a lot of areas if you do a little bit of, thickness in there, and then you go light, then you go really thin. And so you can, if you're using it in your adult coloring book and all that, I think you'll love it because you can go into really tiny spaces and just go as light as you can. So you can use that tip effortlessly, which I'm going to have to practice a whole lot to do that. See what I did in there? I just used a darker shade of green and then use the mint to kind of like blend some of the strokes that were unpleasant for me. And so add more over here. But let me tell you what, this paper is amazing. I will try to find a link to it. I think I got this one from Jet Pens, if I'm not mistaken. But so I'll find the link to all of these after the stream, and then I'll add it in the description because this is fantastic. This paper is phenomenal. I think it's better than the Hobonichi, to be honest with you, and that's a big deal. I don't I don't just say that because I am a big fan of the Tomoe River paper, but this paper is just fantastic. All right. Um, I'm not sure I am loving the way that the colors bleed in there, so I'm gonna grab some brush with water. It's not a water brush. I'll just see if I can blend some and soften some of the harsh lines. And this is a test because we get to see, wow, if we can still manipulate those pigments. Yes, we can. Oh, wow. That is good. Okay. So here I'm just blending away now. It's like, okay, I'm blending anything, everything, just to kind of test it. I think you can still keep going and just keep, let's see, how much. Yeah, for sure. Look at that. You can pick up some of the pigment still and just kind of like blend through it. That's impressive. Huh. That's good. I like that. Let's see if I can blend this. So if you want a much smoother blend, blending with water will give you that. But remember that once the water touch the ink, you will lose some of the vibrancy of the colors because of course you're diluting the ink with the water, but just a little bit. I think these are still very opaque. These are still very saturated. The colors remain to be very juicy. And look at that. That's fun. I love it. I love that. And I love this paper. Let's see. Nope, nope, no bleed through whatsoever. Ah, I love this paper. I love that. I might have to use this as my bullet journal now. Because this is fun. I want to just try one marker. Since I have it here. So. Oh, wow. It's so smooth. It's insane. Definitely. Yep, definitely super smooth. Okay, I might have to use this as a bullet journal because this is fantastic. The markers are just gliding. It's just like smooth like butter. Ah, fun. All right, okay. So anyways, that is the ZIG clean color markers. There we go. I hope that this was helpful in some ways. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Although my cameras were like not being nice again, like this one. Thank you anyways for like spending a little bit of time, and I hope to see you again sometime soon, and one of my future streams. Expect more of these, but thank you again, and I will see you sometime again soon. Bye everyone.